This is what I think of the United States. It's out of my body.
This story begins about 2 weeks ago when I realized that I got a very strange comment on one of my older videos. It was fairly incoherent, essentially saying that the United States was evil and run by Jewish people. More on blatant anti-Semitism later. I didn't think too much of it, having received a number of offensive and strange comments in the past. However, I then realized that he commented not once, but 11 other times. Naturally, this caught my attention. Reading through his comments, none of them particularly made sense. Most involved the damnation of the United States, along with a few interesting tidbits, such as accusing families of bestiality and defending his own heterosexuality. More on that later. A few interesting phrases popped up, specifically saying that Hitler was the true lieutenant of Christ, his words not mine, and that Jesus and Hitler were on the same side against the United States. Again, his words, not mine. One video contained a separate YouTube link. Upon clicking the link, I was greeted with none other than Joseph Zao himself, saying that the United States was out of his body, and then filming an uncomfortably unflushed toilet. After seeing this, I knew I had to get to know this man. I began digging through his random online profile, and after finding thousands and thousands of pages that he himself had uploaded onto the internet, I was able to piece together a relatively coherent history of his life amongst the thousands of pages of nonsense and completely incoherent writings. So now I present the story of Joseph Zao. Joseph Zao, or rather Joseph Jeans, was born in Pennsylvania in 1952. The son of two very wealthy landowners, his father being a captain in the army during World War II. This is the only picture I could find of his father, and wow. He graduated high school, and about halfway through college, he dropped out and decided to join the Marine Corps. While in some of his videos, he claimed to have seen people dying in Vietnam, however, his service reports show that he enlisted in 1974 and as a desk clerk, a full year after the war in Vietnam had ended. He served 2 years in the Marine Corps before getting out, and about this time, this is when his dynamic with his family started falling apart and his legal issues began. During this time, he worked a series of odd jobs such as computer repair, photography, and music production before returning to school to get a degree from the State University of New York. At around this time, he had a falling out with his family and was removed from his parents' will, reducing the amount of money he would have gotten from his wealthy parents by a significant amount. This is also the time where he became religious in his life, a theme that would be seen in most of his videos, which he also claims is the real reason that everyone in his life turned against him. This also is the time that sparked intense hatred for the state of Virginia, the entire state of Virginia, which he claims is a cancer run entirely by the tobacco industry. While suing his family for the money he was originally cut out for, he also sued the entire state of Virginia, the governor of Virginia, a number of different Virginian lawyers, as well as attempting to debar many of them, to which one lawyer responded calling him crazy and to go F off. Joe responded to this particular email with a self-portrait of himself with the caption, "The silence before the silence." To completely sever his ties with the state of Virginia, he then changed his name from Joseph Jeans to Joseph Zao, the man we know now. He then moved to Southern California, where he began to build his life up again, but not before leaving a legal record, which included, but is not limited to, driving 97 miles per hour in a 55-mile-per-hour zone, running a car off the interstate only to be found in front of a farmer's house completely naked by police, calling a hearse to his living father's house, claiming that he had died, and my personal favorite, doing donuts in the front yard while his nieces and nephews played in it, before speeding off the road. Once settled in California, he claims that he was then spiritually married to a woman, however all records of her have been destroyed due to a disgruntled Wells Fargo employee shredding all records of her existence. This also sparked his lucrative YouTube career. Our friend Mr. Zao's channel is a cornucopia of very diverse content, albeit based in delusion and Nazism. His first video uploaded in 2010 titled Century21.wmv depicts a slideshow of highly pixelated photos from a road trip, none of which appear to have been taken by Joseph Zao. While this is being displayed, a recording of telephone conversations between himself and the bank are repeated, in which he both condemns the bank for not telling him he sold his house and the entire state of Virginia for just good measure. He would not upload again for another 2 years, finally breaking the dry spell with an 11-minute guitar piece where he says happy birthday about 6,000 times. It would be another year until he uploaded again, this time a 2-part series on his ideas of suicide prevention, his main point being that suicidal people should just stop being sad, and that you should let suicidal people kill themselves because suicide prevention therapy is a scam. I feel that I need to point out that this is quite possibly the worst advice you can give anyone that has been struggling with ideas of depression. His next video would set the bar for future productions. With actually good camera recording and lighting gear, Mr. Zao went on a 13-minute educational tangent which he discusses innumerable topics such as Virginia still having slaves, Egyptian pharaohs not needing the First Amendment, and how the United States can solve the economic crisis, as well as leaving us with fantastic quotes such as,
"This is my National Bible Association on the back of the Bible. On open disclosure, I'm somewhat of a sinner. I have no interest in being homosexual. I'm not sympathetic to people forced into homosexuality. And I'm not really a leader. And I'm not really a very good follower." What the deals that Virginia gave me, they let me on a bicycle in the West. My credit report was under 503. I feel like Virginia played the devil's advocate all the way up to its highest orders. I smell lovely cat. Titanium.
Sadly, however, this is the first and last we ever hear of Titanium. Shortly after, Joe uploaded a series of videos of him talking in a similar manner, some less coherent than others, but still revolving around the same subject lines. In 2015, he uploaded a series of videos in which he records phone call conversations with a weird echo effect added, to which he speaks with a number of people to include his mother, a former college professor, a doctor, a priest, just to name a few. In total, he produced about an hour of content of this type, however, most of this can be summarized in these 18 seconds. Joe, of course, being the Renaissance man that he is, uses the internet to show off his other interests, such as Stanley Kubrick, self-produced music defending his heterosexuality, solving the macroeconomic problems of the United States, uploading the entire Clinton versus Trump debate in 15-second segments, UFOs that definitely are not event lights, watching people steal his newspapers from surveillance cameras, and of course bashing Virginia and attempting to spread hate speech against Jewish people. Of course, my favorite instance of this being,
"Daniel Ellsberg was a Jew. Doesn't that tell you a lot? Aren't those people delusional?"
Irony is a beautiful thing. Other claims by Mr. Zao are that he was contacted by Congress to help impeach Obama 2 days before he left the office, he once had a homeless man named Switchfoot live in a storage shed, and that he was a member of several elite organizations such as Mensa, the Cambridge Honor Society, and the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, just to name a few. However, astoundingly enough, I was able to find his actual documented evidence of him being a member of each of these groups, though I have not taken the time to test the actual veracity of the documents he provided themselves. Recently, however, Joe has taken a break from uploading to YouTube, his last few posts being from 6 months ago, in which he takes a video of himself inside of his house while police are trying to find him. For now, he takes to spamming other YouTube videos, mine in particular, with his rhetoric and hate speech. This is, of course, until he decides to upload again, and there's literally no way of telling what it will be.